Good morning, everyone who's here bright and early, ready to go. We are going to get started in just a few moments. Thanks so much for being here on time. While we're waiting for the rest of our attendees to join, we invite you to use the chat, share your school site or region where you're joining us from so we can get an idea of who's here with us today.
I got a feeling that tonight's gonna be a good night. That tonight's gonna be a good night. That tonight's gonna be a good night. A feeling that tonight's gonna be a good night. That tonight's gonna be a good night. That tonight's gonna be a good night. A feeling that tonight's gonna be a good night. That tonight's gonna be a good night. That tonight's gonna be a good night. A feeling that tonight's gonna be a good night. That tonight's gonna be a good night. That tonight's gonna be a good night. Tonight's the night. Let's live it up. I got my money.
I'm going to say that on everyone's account that it's much better to be listening to the music that's playing than me trying to guess at some of the locations of where you're joining us from. So thanks for the music, Sina Queen. We're a couple minutes in. We're still having some attendees join, but I'm going to go ahead and get us started. I'm Kristen Tremerci. I'm part of the executive office team at the California Student Aid Commission. Want to let you know we're also pleased that you're here with us this morning. Right now we're using the chat just to share where everyone's joining us from. Also wanted to just double check, if you're here for CSAC's webinar, we want to let you know that you're in the right place. Today is all about our students, and we get to hear directly from two members of CSAC's Student Advisory Council today. If I can have the next slide, please. As usual, here's our reminders for the webinar. We will be here for 1 hour and we'll do everything that we can to get you on your way for the rest of your day at 10 o'clock. While we're using the chat to share where we are joining from, we want to ask that you please use the Zoom Q&A feature. We have staff standing by, and it's much easier for us to respond to questions directly as opposed to trying to hunt them down in the chat. As you all probably noticed when you joined, we are being recorded. This webinar will be posted to our YouTube channel as well as our website. And for anyone who needs it, we have closed captioning available through Zoom. Follow the instructions on the meeting toolbar. And finally, join us on social media. We encourage everyone to do so and keep up with everything that the Student Aid Commission has going on. Next slide, please. For anyone unfamiliar with the California Student Aid Commission, we are the principal state agency responsible for administering financial aid programs for students attending public and private universities, colleges, and career technical education schools in California. Our mission is promoting educational equity by making post-secondary education affordable for all Californians. Next slide, please. So for today's agenda, our opening and welcome remarks, you'll hear from our executive director, Dr. Daisy Gonzalez, as well as our very own commissioner, Audrey Dow. You'll also hear from some of CSAC staff, Michael Lemus with an outreach and marketing update, and hear about a call to action for our sponsored legislative bills from our own Alex Zuko. And as I mentioned, we'll be hearing from CSAC Student Advisory Council members, Deja White and Louis Avalos. And then finally, we'll wrap up with Deputy Director Tay Kang. So with that, Dr. Gonzalez, it's off to you. Thanks, everybody.
Good morning, everyone. Thank you, Kristen. You have been that pillar as we've been having these webinars, and on this journey with everyone that joins us today. We know it's an incredibly busy time. It is the season of smiles, that's graduation season. But we like to start every single webinar with one of our commissioners. And I want to properly introduce Commissioner Audrey Dow and then let her represent the commission so that you can all get to know the leaders who are working with all of us at the statewide level, helping you serve many, many more students every single year. Commissioner Audrey Dow is a public affairs, communications, and media strategist with a deep commitment to advancing college access, success, and affordability. During her 15 years with the Campaign for College Opportunity, Commissioner Dow became a sought-after expert statewide and nationally. She has played a pivotal role in shaping California's policies and initiatives that have made a significant impact on our landscape today here in California. Everything from transfer pathways to basic needs to the way that we connect the non-credit to the credit side so that we can really focus on the importance of higher education. And that's economic development and mobility for all of our students. Her focus has always been in finding solutions for some of the most pressing issues facing our state. Everything from the access to success in higher education to the connection back to debilitating and aging infrastructures, to racial inclusion in hiring practices, as well as acceptance policies in our state, and ensuring that underrepresented groups in our state have a seat at the policy-making table. Her work has been about empowering Californians. I have the honor of working with her as a commissioner of the California Student Aid Commission. And today she's here joining us, providing the welcome remarks on behalf of the commission. Welcome, Commissioner Dow.
Thank you, Executive Director Gonzalez. It's always good to be with the Student Aid Commission team, as well as this community of really committed equity college access warriors. As so many of you probably can relate, I am the first in my family to graduate from a four-year university. I say that very specifically because my father actually attended college and got a two-year certificate at LA Trade Tech College right after he graduated from high school. And that two-year certificate changed the trajectory of my entire family. It meant that my family, my dad and my mom, were the first in their families to own a home, to have jobs that provided health care. They were able to save for retirement. They were able to have all of those things that we know a college degree comes with. I recognize that we're really in an interesting time. And you really, I said warriors at the beginning of this conversation. I said that because it's a tough time for a lot of us in this space, whether you are helping students to go to college right now and navigate their next steps after high school, or whether you're a student and trying to determine your next steps. The environment that we're living in is difficult, right? We have challenges on the financial aid front, right? Challenges with the applications. There are real fears and concerns about whether our data is secure. There are real challenges and conversations about whether college is worth it, whether the price tag is too high and the return not good enough. But I am here and to tell you, with all of you that are joining on this call, that college is absolutely, absolutely worth it. The value of a bachelor's degree, the value of an associate's degree has not gone down. It continues to be elevated, make elevated opportunity for those who earn those degrees. We know that individuals with college degrees will make more over their lifetime, that they're going to be more civically engaged, they're going to have higher economic mobility, and that they're going to be able to withstand the economic downturns that inevitably come in our economy. And so I want to thank and applaud all of you for the work that you're doing in a trying time, because we've got to stay laser focused. College is important. Higher education beyond high school is important if we want our communities that have been historically marginalized and minoritized to be able to have their American dream, to have their California dream, whatever that might be. I am so lucky to be a member of this commission that is like-minded. All of the commissioners, and you should know that, are 1,000% student-centered, are 1,000% focused on how do we remove barriers for all of you that are in the access space and for our students, so that financial aid, the burden, the cost of college is not a barrier for anyone trying to advance their lives. And so I want to let you know that we are laser focused on that we are accessible and available to you for, yes, your challenges, but also your ideas for how we can better serve all of you. And the fact that we're laser focused meant it was an easy choice when we picked our new executive director and Dr. Daisy Gonzalez. We picked Dr. Gonzalez because she has a track record, a proven record, a proven commitment to students and to the work of the commission through her own lived experience as a student, through her own lived experience with the work that she's done in her career. So you've got a stellar team working on your behalf, and I'm just proud to be a part of it. One of the things that Dr. Gonzalez started when she came onto the commission was formalizing a way by which we regularly hear the input of students. And she created the Student Advisory Council. And I am so excited that a highlight of our conversation today is going to be hearing from two members of that Student Advisory Council, Luis Avalos and Deja White, who are going to share what their experience has been like on that council, but also share some of the ideas and concerns that they're elevating via that council that we all have an opportunity to act on. So I'm excited about that part of the conversation. I'm thrilled that you're making time today to be with us here at the commission. You're doing amazing work. I know sometimes it can feel thankless, but know that there are students walking around this state and walking around this country because of you, because of each one of you on this call today. You are making a difference. And to the students on this call, you're making the world a livable place. You're the ones that are going to make it the way we need it to be and to bring it up from where it is. So we're all behind you. Thank you. I am going to turn the conversation now over to our dear colleague, Michael Lemus with the Student Aid Commission. Is that what I'm doing? Or am I going back to you, Dr. Gonzalez? Back to Dr. Gonzalez, but thank you for having me here today. And again, thank you for all the work you're doing. And congrats to all the students that have made their commitment decisions, and to our students at the community colleges. Your deadline is in September, so let's double down and make sure all of you are getting ready and applying for that. Thank you so much. Have a great session.
Thank you, Commissioner Dow. It is a really exciting webinar today, colleagues. We get to look back at where we have been and where we're headed next. And I'm so excited to be here today with many students who represent stories of thousands of students that you are all serving day to day. And so this morning, I want to just be brief in my opening remarks of what I've been seeing since we all saw each other, which is last month. I had a chance to celebrate May as Foster Youth Awareness Month with 10,000 Degrees yesterday. They held an incredible training for individuals, both college access professionals, yes, many at community colleges, because that's where the majority of our foster youth attend, but also a wider network of professionals across the state and experts in financial aid who care about serving this population. So to our colleagues at 10,000 Degrees, congratulations on the training, and thank you for including CSAC. I learned a lot from the panel of experts that you had, so I thank you for doing that work statewide. We also had an opportunity this month to really focus in on where we're headed next, and that's our September 2nd deadline. You all know that at our last webinar, we celebrated being number 5 across the nation. Why? Because we have been able to reach many, many more high school students. So using NCAN data and that placement, we are 5th in the country for the number of high school students completing a FAFSA. However, we know that here in California, we care about 2 other metrics. Number 1, here in California, we have the California DREAM Act application, that's the CADA. So we know that now even many more students are going to that application to find their pathway for financial aid. So we care about that application and the number of students that are accessing financial aid through that application in our state. And we also care about a 3rd metric, and that's the number of community college students who enroll by a September 2nd deadline and then complete a financial aid application. So today's webinar will cover pieces of that work, where we're headed next. But in the meantime, in between, we're also going to celebrate. I mentioned earlier that this is the season of smiles, that's graduation season. And so to all of you, as you celebrate your students in the next few weeks and months, we want to thank you for the hard work. Please share a big congratulations from the California Student Aid Commission to all of your students. And thank you for all of the hard work. I will be there in person next week at Mount St. Mary's University in LA next week to celebrate the class of 2025. And I'll also be at UC Berkeley for their Hope Scholars graduation over the weekend. With that, I want to move forward to the next slide, Sina Queen. Thank you, behind the scenes. And I want to talk about how you can all help us, because we're going to be taking a mini break. We know you all have been busy. We saw that in some of your feedback. Are we still meeting in the summer? The answer is yes, but we'll take a mini break as we head into June. But in the meantime, there are 3 things that we really need your help with. We'll cover these in detail during this webinar. The first one I mentioned, which is our September 2nd deadline. We want every single student who is enrolling in a community college to complete a financial aid application, whether that's FAFSA or a CADA. And so right now we are working with the State Chancellor's Office for Community Colleges to reach those high school students, but also all of the students that will be re-enrolling. So any help that you can give us, we will have our team share a few of the promotional things that you can do in the summertime to help us reach community college students. We also want to thank you for continuing to serve students one-on-one. We continue to hear that students need that one-on-one touch in terms of clarity. You all know that there are a lot of different executive orders coming out, creating a lot more confusion at this moment in time. So that one-on-one support is still critical. I also want to mention here that our General Counsel, Ana Manuel, put out a new executive office memo related to AB 540. We saw a number of questions come through as to the legality of AB 540 in connection to a new executive order that came out. I'll ask Anna to post a little short summary as well as the link in case any of you missed it, or if any of you have campus colleagues who are asking those questions, you now have a General Counsel's Office memo from the California Student Aid Commission that can support your local work. And lastly, we have a number of legislation that has been introduced this year. You'll hear a little bit more from Alex Zucco. The work here is really about how we set up ourselves for a foundation statewide to serve every single student. And here's what I mean by that. Right now, we are operating within existing structures, within both the state and the federal. But we also have to leave the door open to the work, the foundation that needs to exist for us to be able to better serve many more students in our state. And so Alex will cover 4 different pieces of legislation. One has flown through the process, and so we're grateful for all the support you have already given us. But during the summer, we will need your help, especially if you or your organization or your campus is also aligned. We would appreciate a support letter. All of this for us is tied to 3 different populations that we're still leaving behind in the state of California. Certainly you all know, because we've covered them here, our mixed status families need a lot of help, especially during this moment in time. Adult learners and student parents, while we continue to see some programs be created in our state, those students still require a lot more assistance, both locally through your institutions, but on the financial aid side. We also know that our undocumented students right now with their families have a lot more concerns and anxiety about applying. And so we need your help reminding them that in California, it is not just legal, but it is safe for them to enroll and that financial aid is available to them. With that, I want to go to the next slide because I mentioned a big focus on September 2nd. And I mentioned that this is about a story and a journey about how we look behind, but also leave momentum forward to think about what our structure should look like. Let's go to the next slide, Simon Queen. And someone leading that work that's very special for us at CSAC to have Michael Lemus, the Outreach and Marketing Manager, who leads many different portions of what you all interact with in terms of CSAC and especially as college access professionals. You also know Michael because he emceed our College Affordability Summit. Michael leads both the CalSOAP side as well as the Train the Trainer model here for CSAC, but also you all know him for many, many years as he's done the work statewide, thinking about his own story and life journey. Michael has been really busy thinking about September 2nd with his incredible team, Sarah Beth. I want to do a big shout out to her who's been doing a lot of the work for us. And I want to hand it over to Michael to walk you through our September 2nd outreach campaign. Thank you, Michael.
Thank you so much, Dr. Gonzalez, and welcome and good morning to everyone. I want to take the opportunity to actually just take a chance to do a collective breather because this has been a year like no other. And I know there have been so many challenges. And so I want to go ahead and just take a second for us to go ahead and take a collective breath. Because in a year like this, with all of the challenges that we've experienced and in this economy, there's a lot of work for us to go ahead and continue to contribute to when it comes to student success. So as Dr. Gonzalez mentioned, there has been a lot of different initiatives that we have been taking into account here at CSAC. And I want to go ahead and actually read some of the accomplishments that we as a collective, meaning you all as our CBOs, our partners, our educational advocates, all of you included have contributed to. And that is us getting to number 5, by the way. Number 5 is a huge deal, and we're still aiming to go ahead and to continue to rise up in the ranks when it comes to FAFSA and California Dream Act completion. But with that, before I speak to you about the September 2nd campaign, I want to read a couple of accomplishments. First and foremost, you contributed to hosting over 1,000 Cash for College workshops and webinars across the state. So if you think about it, on average, you have about 30 plus students at each of these workshops. That is a lot of students that we reach together, whether that be through an in-person workshop or a webinar or a hybrid model. You all contributed to that. Here at CSAC, speaking of Cash for College and our Train the Trainer program, we trained over 500 individuals through our program. And as a result, that means that representatives from hundreds of new organizations received a certificate to independently host Cash for College workshops, therefore expanding our reach, especially in those areas where we may not have a representative, whether it's a CalSOAP or an RCO, or we're not able to go ahead and actually visit. That is the whole point of that program. In addition, we created brand new web pages for undocumented students, those for mixed status families, and are currently developing a new web page for foster youth students. We also strengthened targeted outreach efforts by prioritizing equity and data, partnering with Cash for College regional coordinating organizations, our CalSOAPs and CBOs. Many of you are here. I can see it in the attendee list, to really extend our reach and deepen our community impact. Additionally, speaking of our Student Advisory Council, which I want to go ahead and just extend our gratitude because they have done incredible work. We collaborated with the council to ensure our initiatives are student-centered and really actively incorporating student perspectives to shape policies, improve programs, and align our work with the real needs and experiences of students, because that is exactly who we need to hear from, and that is exactly who needs to inform our practices. With that, we also expanded our media outreach by hosting multiple ethnic media briefings. And what that gave us an opportunity to do is to engage directly with reporters and media representatives from diverse cultural communities across California. And yes, we continue to leverage our social media platforms. I know Dr. Gonzalez mentioned Sarah Beth and our other teammates here, but that's how we meet students where they're at. We know they're on social media. We know they're on TikTok. We know they're on Instagram and so many other platforms. But when we talk about social media, we're not just talking to our students. We're also talking to our parents. We're talking to our advocates. We're talking to our community organizations. Many of you, if not all of you, are on social media platforms. So we try to leverage our messaging to reach multiple demographics. And that includes relatable memes, it includes videos and reels and TikToks and all of the digital outreach that we're aiming to continue to expand upon. So with that, we're going to transition over to the next slide. So I can talk to you about what we're up to next. So that is our September 2nd campaign. So we were, of course, building up to the April 2nd state priority deadline, and now we are going to work over the next few months to meet this new deadline, which is the September 2nd community college deadline. It's all rooted in our mission alignment goal. So as we talked about, it is rooted in educational equity by making post-secondary education affordable for all Californians. And we really want students and all of you, everyone included, to know that community college is a gateway. It's a viable option for students, whether it's a certificate, whether they want to transfer. Some of our community colleges even have bachelor's degree opportunities. We want folks to know that this is an opportunity and an option that is accessible to them. Last but not least, as Dr. Gonzalez mentioned, we are doing an intentional focus on our underserved students, which does have a focus on those in the undocumented student population, student parents, and adult learners. So while we are aiming to go ahead and reach students of all demographics, we want to do a special focus on the 3 demographics that I just mentioned. And if we can transition over to the next slide. I'm very excited to share this with you. So we have the Community College is for You campaign. This is going to be a partnership with the Community College Chancellor's Office, and we're going to be working with them very closely through September 2nd to go ahead and launch this campaign. The idea is to go ahead and create an evergreen campaign that we can use year over year that is versatile for different student populations. And we want students for them to feel seen and represented, whether they are a student parent, whether they are going straight from high school, whatever the journey, whatever the story is. And that is the theme of today's webinar here. We want students to just feel like they have a place in education, in higher education, and that they can afford it. So all of our messages are going to be uplifting, they're going to be inclusive, they're going to inspire hope, and everything is rooted in that representation. And something that was shared in that webinar that Dr. Gonzalez mentioned yesterday was really giving the ability for us to go ahead and break down barriers and build generational wealth, right? By giving these students the opportunity to see themselves represented in a campaign like this, they're able to also work through that, and any barrier that does get presented to them, we are here as advocates, as people, as community-based organizations to help them through it. So this is our campaign. We're also going to have a bilingual version of that, and that will be shown in the next slide here. And that's going to be used with the hashtag Para Ti. It's a culturally competent campaign. It's going to be a Spanish version of what I just showed you, and it's all aspirational. Some of the key words that we're going to be using are things like soñadores, valientes, líderes, and visionaries, right? Brave, leaders, dreamers, and leaning into diversity and encouraging action and really keeping it simple and clean. We don't want it to be complex. We don't want it to be too much information and overwhelm students. We really just want students to feel like this is for you. And so what we're going to be asking of you all as we launch this campaign in the next couple of weeks is to please share this out, to let students know. We're again going to be working with the Chancellor's Office to partner on events, to be launching co-branded campaigns. This is just one part of it. We're also going to have a special focus on, again, our undocumented students, student parents, students with dependents, and our adult learners. So we're going to be using data to go ahead and focus in on our targeted outreach. And we'll be traveling up and down the state, even through the summer, to go ahead and reach these students and partnering with you all to go ahead and make this dream a reality. So with that, I think I am now passing it back to Dr. Gonzalez, and I want to go ahead, our Cash for College webinars. We do have our webinars to go ahead and actually also still be able to launch here, and that is to help students complete their applications. So as I mentioned earlier, that is still available, and some of these will even be live translated in Spanish. And now is actually my cue to pass it back to Dr. Gonzalez. Thank you.
Thank you, Michael. I hope you catch up on the chat and just accept all of the love and support being given during this webinar. I'm so grateful for the work that your team has completed, and then even more excited because I've only been with CSAC for 10 months. And I was very clear about why I made this transition, why I serve all of you. My work is to transform California's statewide institutions, and by institutions, I mean big structures. Financial aid is one of them. To treat our students, to treat Californians with dignity and compassion. And I think the work that Michael and team have completed here is just an example of that, of where we're headed, both at CSAC, but also the potential of what we could do statewide. I now have the honor of transitioning us to our next part. So I'm going to ask for the next slide. because I get to talk to students and we get to hear from them. We get to turn this webinar over to our students. So I want to make sure that I ask Luis Avalos and Deja White to turn on their cameras and join us. I had this crazy idea when I started this job. I said, I want to start a statewide implementation work group because we need to figure out how we can get help. You all have heard about that statewide implementation work group, the incredible work of all of our segment partners, UCOP, the CSU Chancellor's Office, the Community Colleges Chancellor's Office, our partners at 10,000 Degrees. It makes me think about Christopher Gonzalez, all of our colleagues, you Aspire, our CalSOAPs, they're all at the table. On the other side and the other arm, meaning the other crazy idea, was how can we get closer to students as a state agency, as a commission? If we're truly going to become student-centered, what would that look like? And so we launched our very first CSAC Student Advisory Council. We asked all of our segment student associations to make appointments, and we got incredibly lucky. We got a group of students who not only understood the task, but were bold and courageous in their ideas. And today we have the honor of being joined by 2 of those students. And I was so sad when we were prepping for this webinar when they shared that they were graduating, but also really excited for them. And I know that they're going to continue their education. So my hope is that the financial aid side of the house exists for when they continue their education from a BA to a master's degree to a PhD. Luis, Deja, I'm dreaming that big for you because I know that it's possible because of what you have done. Our Student Advisory Council became a space to really think about how we could integrate the student voice, not just in the way that we designed our programs, but how we ran our programs, and at the same time be open to hear critical feedback that maybe things aren't working the way that we think that they are working. And that's still the ongoing work that needs to happen statewide, because this was level 1 of the council, and we were able to do a lot in a short amount of time. And so I want to introduce our students and then have more of a conversation and hand it over to them. So I'm going to start with you, Deja. Deja Leah White. Deja White is the Legislative Affairs Director for the Student Senate for California Community Colleges, Region 5. She's studying Criminology and Administration of Justice at Reedley College. Deja graduates this year and will be transferring. I won't tell you where because I don't want to ruin the surprise. She has been a statewide student leader representing the SSCCC. And most importantly for us, we had the honor of working with her in the CSAC Student Advisory Council. But locally, she has been a statewide leader in her community. She has formed many clubs and served in student government, including as Reedley College's ASG president. She is an unapologetic voice for students, from veterans to foster youth to undocumented students. And she has spent the last year working in partnership with students statewide, working on college affordability, college access, and with us at CSAC, particularly as we work on SB 323. And so we're so grateful that she's here with us today. Welcome, Deja. And then we also have, Luis Avalos, Communications Officer for the UCSA. He's a graduating senior from UC San Diego, where he currently works as a basic needs peer educator. Luis is a communications major with a political science minor. He's passionate about social advocacy and change. He has served the UCSA on the CSAC Student Advisory Council, but very similar to Deja, he is very busy, not just locally and not just in his day work as a basic needs peer educator, but as a statewide leader, working closely with UCSA to bring in the diverse voices of students in the UC system, as well as managing and thinking about the changing federal landscape and what it is creating for students here in our state. In particular, Luis has been focused on staying optimistic and energetic about the potential to create change in real time and bringing students together, whether it's on his campus, at the statewide level with UCSA, or bringing in the next generation of leaders when we think about our CSAC Student Advisory Council. Welcome, Luis. I know you had a full morning already, and so I want to start off with an easy one. You are both graduating soon, so I want to give you some time to one, celebrate you, and start off with an easy one. So you're graduating. Tell us what this moment means for you and what's next. Deja, we'll start with you.
Oh my God, thank you so much. First, thank you to everyone who's here. It's like 200 people, and that's crazy. So thank you so much to everyone who's here. But yeah, so I am graduating. I will be transferring to Fresno State in the fall, which is my university in my area, and I'm so excited. I will be doing victimology over there, and I hope to stay in higher ed. I want to become a professor once I get my master's degree. Going to teaching community colleges. Through my work, I've found a really big love for community colleges. So I really want to stay here, teach here, maybe become an administrator, continue to work with Dr. Gonzalez in every aspect I can. So yeah, that is what I want to do in the future. And thank you everyone for being here and listening to us.
Thank you, Deja. What about you, Louis?
Yeah, just also want to say thank you, Dr. Gonzalez, for that lovely introduction. I'm a Leo, so I love the little ego boosts all the time, so I really appreciate it. But yeah, after graduation, I mean, like you said, I really stuck my foot into like federal, state, just anywhere student advocacy within higher education. So definitely want to continue that momentum, whether that be at UC San Diego, who knows, because of that UC hiring freeze, it's crazy out here. Or getting into the San Diego Community College system, working for that system here locally, anywhere that aligns with like basic needs advocacy, student advocacy, overall higher education, especially right now when higher ed is very under attack. Just wanting to be in those spaces and wanting to be a continued loud and strong voice for these spaces and for these students. But yeah, gonna definitely stick it out in San Diego. I signed my lease already for the next year, so I have no choice. But yeah, just kind of just staying in these spaces, basic needs, student advocacy, higher ed, all that fun stuff. Super excited for the next year though.
Thank you for sharing that with us. And that means, the colleagues that are here, any UC San Diego colleagues, I saw in the chat, UCOP, someone from UCOP is here, then know that Louis is looking for a job. And as you heard, he's very, very excited to work in San Diego, but also to continue to serve students, the next generation of students. I want to thank the two of you for one, spending time with CSAC on this new adventure to think about how we transform our internal structures as an agency, but also for always being so candid and willing to help. I know that you have been carrying both your workload as a student, and then even more impressive, knowing that you were so focused on graduating and thinking about your next step and the jobs that you carry and your statewide leadership. So one, on behalf of the California Student Aid Commission, I just want to say thank you. Thank you for spending the last 10 months with us. When we thought about this idea, we were just really thinking about, one, how do we elevate the student voice and make it a priority in our work? And then how do we work with students to help us not just think about the policy solutions, the outreach, the communications, but also the future of what needs to happen at our agency. And the two of you have been really instrumental in how we think about that, everything from the town hall. So thank you for participating, and one, for coming up with the idea, and then two, for lending your voice and your expertise to the work that we do statewide. So as members of the council, the Student Advisory Council, you've had 10 months working with us. I want to know what you're most proud of contributing to that council. And basically it's a question about what's the legacy that you're leaving us with in the time that you've served in this council. Who would like to start?
I'll start. Yeah, like Dr. Gonzalez said, there was a town hall that we had earlier. I'm partially to blame for that. It was kind of, my idea. And so the thought process of this was, I felt like a lot of students were not being reached. A lot of students, especially in my area and particularly in Region 5, we're a rural area, so we have many undocumented students and mixed status families. Myself and other friends and colleagues being that, and not knowing that a lot of students were not even aware that it was available to them. really just I was not it did not sit well with me. So I kind of was like, what if we did like a little town hall or like a little panel to promote, you know? And so then they were like, oh, that's a great idea. Let's do that. Well, we only have 2 weeks to do it. Okay. So we put it really quickly together and it was such a great turnout. I think we reached so many people. It was over 300 people in that session. So it was an amazing, amazing town hall. I've also serve on sponsors committees, which is for the bills, which Alex will get into later. I won't get into the bill work. But so SB 305 and SB 323, which are super important bills to promote the CADA and FAFSA applications. I have been doing so much work with these bills and just being able to be in those conversations and really amplify the voices of students in my region in particular is really special. Just because Region 5 does not get a lot of, you know, word out there. We're the Central Valley, so we really don't get out there much. And so I've been really proud of that. I recently testified at the Capitol on SB 305, and I was really proud to do that because, we really don't get that outreach. And so I've been really proud to say that I have continuously advocated for not only, myself and the students in my region, but for every student. And so to see, all these webinars and town halls and even the campaign, when I first saw the campaign, I was like, wow, this is amazing. And to see that, CSEC is really taking into account all of our, words and work. I think it's heading in the most amazing direction possible. So yeah, that's just been some of my work that I've done. It's been crazy. I've done so much work here, but I think really just being able to be that voice for students and, especially for my region in particular, since we are so overlooked. But yeah, thank you.
Thank you, Deja. I love that you said it didn't sit well with me. And I think that's a really good lesson as we were listening to all the work that you've done for us, that you trusted your gut and you were like, I think we need to do something about this. And so yes, a town hall with Louis helping us. We also had a lot of help from UCSA, and I know Vincent, I think I saw you here. Thank you for helping us put that town hall together. But I think I'm hoping everyone that's here with us, the participants, are hearing that everyone has agency and they have power to make a difference. And so thank you for trusting your gut and for all the work that you've done. What about you, Louis? What's the legacy? What's the contribution that you are most proud of?
Yeah, I would also have to agree with Deja. That town hall was gorgeous. It was really cool to put together. Being in the space and seeing like 300 little Zoom tabs open. It was really cool to see like that many students taking advantage of such a great opportunity. And yeah, that 2 week turnaround, I mean, that's that's advocacy. It's fast, it's ongoing. You plan something out, gotta do it next week. So I think that just really highlights like the drive and the determination of folks on the council, which was really cool to see us like kind of come together. And we got 2 weeks, but we're gonna put it together. We're gonna throw it all together, get a bunch of students together, all that fun stuff. So it was really cool to be a part of that. I know personally my contribution to it was like making some like social media efforts to get the word out. Definitely would have went like more of a stronger multimedia route with like videos and all that fun stuff, but next time I got you. I got you on that next time. But yeah, being a part of that process, I think being on more of the media end kind of highlights the legacy I want to leave is bridging the gap of information between the strong and great work that y'all do and like what we would label as like administrative offices and then the student body who would benefit greatly from those resources and services. So that's kind of like the gap that I've always tried filling within my work at UCSD within the state is making like access to these resources and addressing the need to use these resources just fun and easy to talk about. I know also working in basic needs, the stigma of accessing the basic needs center, the services that we offer, the programs, it's hard because folks don't like to talk about what they need and what they need help with. So again, just closing that informational gap, closing the feeling of not wanting to access something because folks don't want to talk about it or whatever stigma is attached to it. And yeah, also just overall, just being in the council space, being able to work with like folks across three of like the biggest institutional systems I would say in the world. Community college system, the CSU system, the UC system. It was really cool to have like a digital space to where we could just talk and share and really see like how we could relate across those institutional lines. And in all my years at UCSD, I've always like really wanted to have like a space to where I could talk to the other institutional systems and folks from those systems, because I know once we work together, we could really find solutions on how to tackle big problems, especially like statewide problems. And we did exactly that. And the town hall was a perfect example of like tackling one of those issues head on with having other students in the space. So yeah, I think that's also another like part of the legacy I want to leave is continuing those conversations between the systems. Because as we've all seen, like they're very separated, and even like the idea of like, well, I go to the UC, I'm not going to talk to someone from the CSU, or like we're competitors. So even like the whole like UCSD versus SDSU thing, like it's always kind of been separate. So spaces like this, although digital, really can bring us together and bridge us together, which is super cool to be a part of. And I think it's also very needed in a time like right now, because it doesn't matter what university you go to, if you're in a community college, if you're in a 4-year, 2-year, whatever, we're all under a microscope right now, and all of our access to higher education, all of our freedom to higher education, all of our support systems to get us to higher education, whether that be the K to 12, the college, staying within college, going to a community to a 4-year, all that's at risk. And we need as many eyes, as many hands, as many voices as we can in those spaces. And yeah, I think this council is like a really good example of what those many voices could do and what we could achieve together. Yeah, it was beautiful to be a part of it. If I'm staying within higher ed, definitely will call y'all up again, call y'all up again to be a part of some type of council like this. But yeah, it was really nice to be a part of this space.
Thank you, Louis. I still remember we started in November and it was right after the election. And I remember in that space, we had to create space to just say, how are you all feeling? And all of you were like, that's great. Like nothing changed for us. There are still students who are homeless, who are hungry. And so you all were like, let's get to work. Let's roll up our sleeves. And I remember the CSEC team and I just being so grateful to be in that space. Because sometimes as adults, we forget, right, around the student experience, but we also think that some things are bigger because they impact our day-to-day work. And so one of the things that you just said, Louis, reminded me of that it really became a space where you all were really thinking about solutions from day one. Deja, I also remember you felt very strongly. You kept saying, you know, we're now doing dual enrollment at community colleges. Where's our focus on K through 12? And you were like, where are the K through 12 students in this room? And then Louis, you were like, yes, and how are we communicating with them? Should we be working with K through 12 and CDE? And so I love the ideas that you were bringing to the table from day one. And I love asking students this question every time we're on a panel. If you had a magic wand, what is that policy solution or that one thing that you would change? And I specifically want to focus on financial aid. So what is that one thing you would change in financial aid to make it more student-centered?
I would say, obviously, if I could just give everyone aid, I would. But that's not the case, unfortunately. One thing in the now, realistically speaking, I would definitely pass SB 323. Just because I feel like that bill really encompasses everyone, not just, you know, the normal traditional student or undocumented students, but it also touches on, mixed status families. It allows for, let's say for myself, if, my parents were undocumented and I felt unsafe to even, submit my information, what if it got spread? That's a great way, to even just feel a little bit of relief in this time frame with financial aids. That's just the main concern is, well, what if things get released? Well, what about my parents? What if my parents leave? My parents leave, I have nothing. So, we all have that feeling of if our family aren't with us, then how can we even carry on? How can I even go to school? And so I think that is one thing that I would definitely just cover, because it doesn't encompass just one person in particular or one demographic. It really covers everyone and makes everyone feel safe, not just our students, but also, you know, their support systems, which is their families and anyone else around them too. So that is definitely something that I would do.
Thank you, Deja. What about you, Louis?
Definitely want to echo what Deja just said. Especially right now, I know that we've talked in the past about folks not feeling comfortable filling out their FAFSA, even their CADA. And that's like a missed opportunity of not only financial support, but just access to higher education entirely. So definitely want to second and like uplift everything Deja just said. Deja, if there's any way I could be of support, let me know. You know, got my number, got my Instagram. But yeah, just wanted to uplift that. For me, since I am very like head on in the basic needs world, I would just make financial aid packages more, I guess, reflective of like students' basic needs experience and like the insecurities that they're experiencing. I know at UC San Diego, we always hit those roadblocks of like, okay, we got X amount of money we can give to students, but there's like a financial aid block. We're like, oh, this is going to negatively impact their financial aid. And it's always like, but we're just giving students support. How is this going to negatively impact? And there's a whole system, and of course, the bureaucracy have to flow through at the campus wide, system wide. So removing all of those barriers and just being like, yo, you need money, we got you. And for those financial aid packages, be reflective of the region of the school, what's personally going on in that region, the local economy, the prices of on-campus dining, the prices of expensive markets in the area. Because specifically at UC, we're in rich cities, so the markets we have in the area are like Whole Foods, Sprouts, all that crazy stuff that I can't afford. So be reflective of that reality, be reflective of like the housing market in the area, just incorporating more of reality into their packages instead of having something so standardized, and that doesn't incorporate all of that reality. Because specifically within basic needs in my work across the state, I always talk to students like, yeah, like this helps, but I need more, or like I wish that they were more open ears or open mind to what I'm experiencing personally than me just feeling like another number in the system. So granted, I know the reality of having such a large system, helping so many people at the same time, and the manpower to go behind something and changing that and all that fun stuff. But let's do it. Let's start looking into how many people we need to hire to get the system to be less standardized and more focused on the individual. How much money do we have to pump in to have, I don't know, the website to handle such some like traffic going into the website, all that fun stuff, all the logistics stuff. Let's get down to it. Let's find out how we could pay for it, how we could handle it, how we could work it. But yeah, I think that's just kind of a dream that I've been always having. Again, if everyone could get financial aid, that would be amazing and gorgeous. Everyone could get access to CalFresh, access to on-campus housing, access to rental support, security deposit support. If everyone could get it, if I could wave a wand, definitely would do that hands down. But yeah, I think that would be my little wish, Dr. Gonzalez.
I love what you're both saying, which is there's a difference between creating access, so like simplification, versus a real investment that leads to equity. So everything, Deja, from creating multiple pathways, because we just, especially today, students and families are feeling more anxiety, more like their lives are in danger. And then Louis, from your side of the house, really thinking about how, yes, we've known that our students are living in cars and that they are hungry. And so when will it be time to move beyond that, right? Beyond the access portion of this to actually finding a solution. I know that you are both going to be graduating very soon. And so you have many, many colleagues here who are also working with students just like you. I'm wondering if we could end our panel with just one piece of advice for how professionals, whether it's a college access professional, a faculty member, everyone that works at colleges and universities across, this incredible state, what's that piece of advice as they're working with a student who has basic needs and needs help? What would you share with them?
One thing I would share is to just be a great support system. Even just being an ear can really help. Students, it's just being there and making sure that you help them to the full, ability there's so many things going out now, which I'm so proud of that, requires, like, for example, there's a new bill coming out that it requires financial aid to tell student parents all of their resources that they actually can get, right? And so that is one thing that I would say, to continuously just make sure that all of the students that you work with day to day, you have that personal interaction with them. You make sure that you have that connection with them and that they're getting all the resources that they can. Because some of them don't even know that these things exist. So even just mentioning it, right? Like for example, yesterday I was at work and I was telling my business office manager, hey, I've been struggling with this. And he said, hey, why don't you do this? It'd probably be 10 times easier on you. I was like, wow, I did not know that even existed. So even just saying a simple, hey, by the way, or slipping them a little something, and making sure that you protect them at all costs, whether that is, their personal information or just them as a student. And if you see them struggling, just go to them and just say, hey, we are very stubborn people. We don't like to ask for help. So please, if you see us struggling, say, hey, you need some support. Um, those are just some things that I would say. Just in this time, just support your students as much as you can, just because, especially right now, it kind of feels like they're pick and choose of who you can talk to, who you can share things with, get help from. And not everyone wants to help, students. So really just making sure that students are comfortable enough to go up to you to ask for help and protecting them at all costs.
Thank you, Deja. What about you, Louis? Final words of advice.
Yeah, again, I would just second everything that Deja just said. That was perfectly said. I think that highlights how within higher education, there's like a normalcy of like, look, you're an adult, figure it out. It's gonna be hard, figure it out. But like in a time right now, if you see someone struggling and you know how to help them, or you just see it as it's just being expressed by their energy, by their vibe, just their overall stress, go to them. Um, I know that we are adults and like a lot of things in life we can't have our hand held through those processes, but in the moments where we can receive help and we're not asking for it, just go for it. Just be an open hand for them. And I think that also just highlights working and leading the work you do as a labor of love, full of compassion, full of grace. It's hard times right now. I mean, it's always been a hard time, but it's so hard and difficult right now, specifically with everything that's going on within higher education across the state, every region across the state, across the nation. So even if it's as small as just being like, "How's your day? Like, did you eat today? Did you drink water?" Like simple things like that. I think it like really could go a long way. Actually, no, it could really go a long way. So just continue being that, continue leading your work with grace and full of heart, full of love, and even taking time for yourself. Like if you need a time to step back, you're like, whoa, a lot's going on. I'm dealing with a lot, helping a lot of students who are dealing with a lot. Take that time for yourself too, and just grab some water, grab a snack, get some ice cream, get a sweet treat. Treat yourself. You also deserve the same compassion and love that you give out to the students you work with. So just always remind yourself of that too. I know in my work, it's go, 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 help, 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 help. But I tend to forget, like, I'm a human being too at the end of the day. I need food, I need nourishment, I need a hug. So also reminding yourself that you're deserving of those things. And I think I want to end off with like, I do know within our administrative roles, educator roles, whatever roles we might fit in, we might be both burdened and restricted by like the bureaucratic structures that we work within. But by whatever means and by whatever means possible, advocate for students, speak up. If you see something that's wrong or you see something that you don't agree with, that you don't feel is right, talk about it. Talk to someone. Talk to students, meet them where they're at, ask them, what can I do to help you? Whether that be, showing up to a protest or advocating for a certain bill like Deja was highlighting. Working with what you have and maintaining your bravery and your strength as an individual and just progressing forward with students. And I'm always here to help out with folks. I saw someone was requesting for my email, more than happy to do so. Just thank you for having me in the space too. Appreciate it, Dr. Gonzalez.
Thank you for that. That was a beautiful way to end this panel, just the same dignity and compassion. And thank you for sharing that with all of us, that it starts with us giving it to ourselves. So I hope everyone gets a mini water break, a mini walk getting it out from a chair even. I want to make sure that we celebrate you both. So if we go to the next slide. And everyone, all the participants, if we could please do a virtual round of applause for our student panelists, Louis Avalos, Deja White. Congratulations on behalf of the California Student Aid Commission. We're so proud of you. We look forward to working with you in the future, whether that's at the CSU with you, Deja. Louis, I know your future is bright. So whether you're here joining us as a college access professional or back to school, when you come back, we'll be here for you. Thank you. Colleagues, I know we're at the end of our time, but I want to make sure that we at least give Alex Zuko at least 3 minutes. She's going to cover some of the pieces of legislation that Deja mentioned to all of you. So no pressure, Alex. We'll hand it over to you. Thank you, Louis. Thank you, Deja.
Thank you, Dr. Gonzalez, and thank you, Louis and Deja. You can go to the next slide. My name is Alex Zuko. I'm the Federal and State Policy Manager, and I get to do the lightning round of our commission-sponsored legislation. We have 4 bills this year, which is quite an endeavor and a great team to make it happen. As Dr. Gonzalez mentioned, our first bill that started in the Assembly, AB 313, would grant us the authority to extend the deadline should the FAFSA be late. Who knew we would need this, but absolutely, this is something that would save us time and energy and would be a real great resource. The next 3, and also AB 313, already made its way through the first house, sailed through, already at the Senate. The next 3 bills are all sitting in the Senate suspense, and that is SB 305 with Senator Reyes, and that extends the FAFSA CADA mandate from 12th grade to also include our community colleges. And Senator Reyes, who championed it for us in the Assembly when she was Assemblymember Reyes, we've found that about at least 500,000 community college students aren't seeking financial aid from the federal government. And that is leaving so much money on the table that could really help our students here. SB 323, as Deja mentioned, and she was thankful to kind of give a plug for, would kind of codify finally that the CADA is open to all students. We have always had it open to our Dreamers. This would actually extend that to our mixed status families, folks that really don't feel like maybe now is the time to share their information with the federal government for whatever reason, but still gives them an on-ramp to institutional aid and Cal Grant, which is essential. Finally, SB 416 would create a work group to look at those financial aid offer letters. They are wildly different. So many studies from GAO, TICAS, UAspire have all found that they've been deficient and not in line with each other. So when students are at UC San Diego, San Diego State, University of San Diego, they're looking at 3 totally different kinds of offer letters and can't compare apples to apples. So this would really help kind of align to give our families and parents and students a real transparent look into what they have available to them to make their decision, which is super important. On this flyer, you'll see a QR code, which will take you right to the portal so you can send in a letter of support. Also, the email addresses of Daniela and I. We are staffing each 2 of these bills. And if you have any questions, want a fact sheet, want more information, please let us know and we will help you do that. That is me for today, and we'll be back later on. And back to you, Dr. Gonzalez.
Hey, let's close it up.
All right. Thank you everyone for joining us today. As we conclude today's webinar, this month's webinar, we want to leave you with some quick, friendly reminders. Please continue to check out our new resources on the CSAC homepage. We have specific resources for our undocumented students, mixed status families, applicants, schools, high schools, colleges. Please check out all the different resources that are available to you as you continue to provide assistance and support our students. Track your FAFSA CADA submission rates on the Race to Submit dashboard. The Race to Submit dashboard will conclude for the 25-26 year on June 30th. So there's about 6 weeks left. Please check it out. And then if you want to stay connected with the Student Aid Commission, hear all of our special alerts, executive office memos, operations memos, stay connected with us, sign up for the CSAC listserv to receive the latest and greatest communications. And as Michael mentioned earlier, attend one of our Cash for College workshops. I believe the next one is on May 20th. It's a virtual webinar, so hope to see you there. Next slide. And of course, we want to hear from you. We do these monthly webinars, but we know that we can always improve in the way that we do them. So please, after the conclusion of this webinar, fill out the Zoom survey, provide us with the feedback, and we look forward to any recommendations or suggestions you have so we can continue to improve upon our webinar. Our next webinar is going to be June 12th, 2025, which is the second Thursday of every month from 9 to 10 a.m. And there will be signups for that as well. Next slide. And we want to just say one more time, thank you so much for taking a part of your morning with us and spending time with us. Special shout out to our students, Deja and Louis, for providing your student testimonies and just providing that super great context. And also to Commissioner Audrey Dow, who gave us the opening remarks. So thank you, everybody. This will conclude our webinar, and take care. See you next month.